Alright, here we go. Game 2 of our LCK Game of the Week. Kingzone taking this first game in relative solid fashion. They got first blooded, but were able to turn that game around, keep it close. They had a slight gold lead despite being 2 dragons down from the side of BBQ, but winning a couple of real key team fights at the 25-minute mark. Being able to secure the Baron then, and then run it right down mid lane, knocking down multiple turrets and the inhibitor before switching over to the bot side inhibitor and turret, taking that down and virtually securing themselves the game at that point. After that, it was just mathematical with the proper movements. So, let's see at the LCK Game of the Week, Week 7, Day 5, here between BBQ Olivers and the Kingzone Dragon X. See what this game has in store. BBQ changing the bans up a little bit, taking out the Azir and the Sejuani. And instead of the Sejuani pick, BBQ is going to be going with the Olaf. So they played Jarvan last time, and last time Olaf was banned in game 1. This time they're going to go ahead and first pick it. We follow up Galio pick, most likely mid. And BBQ thinking about theirs. Now for Kingzone, with the Galio, this Zac actually makes a lot of sense as a jungle pick because Zac is generally jumping in quite deep into the enemy team when Galio can then follow up immediately with his ultimate. It's just a really strong two-man combo. But they chose Varus as an AD carry priority instead of picking that Zac up immediately. But there's no impetus to pick up the Zac because Olaf has been picked already. So yes, they could get banned in the next round, but they didn't need to pick it first round. Now, with Corki being picked and the AD carry Tristana, they can go ahead and pick the Zac if that's what they choose. I predict they will. Let's go ahead and see. Yes, this match has been played already. I'm casting it the next about a day or a couple days later, but I have not watched it at all. I do not know whose wins. And let's see what Kingzone decides. I do predict they're going to pick a jungler. But, hey, I've been wrong before. I can be wrong again. Camille on top, choosing the top laner blind for Khan. And Camille was banned in the first game. This game it was left open. So the best top laner in the world gets one of the best carries in the top lane role. Now Kingzone is looking to start banning some of the top lane opposition that Camille can face, and Fiora immediately gets taken out. And BBQ is going to go ahead and pinch the jungle pool. So Kha'Zix's first taken out, and let's see what they ban second. I predict it's going to be another jungle ban. I predict it's going to be a Zac ban, but we'll see. Maybe they want Peanut on not such an aggressive jungler. Maybe Zac is what they'd rather have him on, and to not try to hard carry so early on. Cho'Gath taken out, also from the top lane. Cho'Gath's going to be a little bit difficult for Camille to finish off. Of course, she can jump on him early, but once Cho'Gath starts stacking armor and getting health from his stacks, it makes it very difficult for Camille to be able to take him out one-on-one, at least in a quick amount of time. And choosing an aggressive jungler for Peanut, they would rather him on a tank, it seems like. When you're banning out both Kha'Zix and Jax, they don't want him carrying the game. They'd rather have the lanes try to do it. Braum be a very standard pick for Gorilla. Very good pick into Corki, who Braum can negate a lot of the poke that's coming out from this mid lane pick. So really good pick up there, and they're going to save their jungle for once again at the end. And a little bit different here in Korea, how they save their jungle pick to be their last pick. It's not like that in really any other region that I watch. And I don't have a reason. I don't know why that is. I think that if I were to guess, I would say because they put such high priorities in some of these meta picks. And if you look at the first 4 picks of Kingzone, they're all extremely strong. BBQ's gone ahead and taken away the Gangplank, so Khan played that last game to excellent effect. And this game, BBQ's going to try to play it into the counter matchup of Camille. So yes, both Gnar and Camille do extremely well into Gangplank, but this is BBQ once again picking the Gangplank to lose early, but take over later. And Tarek makes a lot of sense with this comp. They really could use another tank. His ultimate would be a great disengage tool. And wow, this is so exciting. So exciting. The Peanut on Kingzone. They're smiling. They know it. This is time to go. Peanut here. He knows this is fun time now. And yeah, so it's not the Zac. It is someone who goes very deep into the jungle. And if she gets into trouble, Galio can bail her out. So Peanut being very, very well known for his Nidalee play in the last few seasons. Often liking to farm up at first, which is what we saw him do in Game 1 with the Sejuani, before taking it to the enemy team more towards the early mid-game. So BBQ's got a little bit of a different team here with the Corki picked. They kind of have a little bit of everything on their team. Doesn't appear to be a clear identity, at least not one that I can see. They seem to have, yeah, just a little bit of everything. So they got scaling with Gangplank Tristana. They have good team fighting with the Tarek. They have good chase and cleanup with Olaf, Olaf, Corki, and Tristana. Whereas here on the Kingzone team, you see the Peanut is going to be invading with Nidalee, going from all sorts of angles. Going to be very aggressive as well with the Camille. And you're going to see the Galio backing both of those, are very aggressive, in-your-face champions of Camille and Nidalee, that in case they get engaged upon, that he can go ahead and get in the fight very quickly with his ultimate, while also providing bonus stats and a knockup. That's kind of how I see this game. Definitely a little bit less on the dedicated team comps. And Khan, using his grappling hooks, getting a flash already out of Ignar, and that's going to be 5 minutes 30 seconds that he's going to have that up only now. So a good little advantage, and probably won't mean anything because it was that early. Most likely Tarek will have his flash back up before any sort of meaningful engages begin. Just being a little bit wary about the invade, getting that late vision there in the river. Both junglers starting on their strong side. Nice little combination movement there from Nidalee, and that's not just something you see in low games. You don't see a type of move like that, where you set the trap, throw the spear, jump into tiger form to finish off the Gromp. It's high level clear there from Peanut, just showing his comfortability on this champion, whom he could be possibly the best in the world at. Gangplank starting early to push the wave. Khan still struggling here at level 1. But with the wave pushing, now he's got level 2. Could be looking for a dive. Flash out of there by Crazy, and not wanting that follow-up damage. Very, very early flash from the Gangplank. Definitely respecting the first gank of Pina, which, as you can see, is Nidalee picking up the two camps, the blue, Gromp, and red, and then immediately going top for a 2-minute 40-second gank. So very, very quick gank timing. Olaf is coming back into this top lane, and you're looking at trying to turn a gank himself or to start one off. But with the wave pushing in, very difficult to get the time, and a good little bit of damage there from Crazy, getting the barrel, and then the minions turning their focus onto Khan. Peanut getting the scuttle, realizing that Corki has just enough mana to use a W to get away. Barely does not want to be seen. Don't believe Khan saw the Olaf there, but he did ping it out. So you know what? He did see that. So just pinging that the Olaf is on the top side. So Nidalee knows that she is good to start a gank anywhere else on the map, and Khan knows this is coming. So he won't be caught other than with a well-placed axe. And Peanut is in turn going to take out the golems. Managed to get a couple of waves, just going to jump out, throw in a trap down for when the red comes up. Farm is pretty even all around. The only discernible advantage is the Varus over the Tristana with a collection of 8 more minions. Khan understanding this matchup very well. Knows where he's strong and where he isn't. Gangplank understanding that he isn't right now with very low mana bar. He's going to go ahead and back. And there you can see all of Kingzone, 3 of the 5 of them, are backing at exactly the same time. So a good little bit of backs in unison. TP used in both top and mid lane to get back there as soon as possible. So just showing you about how calculated this first 5 minutes of gameplay is with all those backs in perfect unison there. Camille going for a couple of long swords and a flask, whereas Gangplank going for that early damage in that sheen. Brahm's going to get focused, going to continue to be hit by axes, but he's just too tanky, and he has that Stand By Me ability that he can just jump immediately to prey on the Varus. Peanut taking over, yet another camp, getting some early effective counter jungling in. GP's understanding what's going on. Good work by Khan, who's hit level 6, whereas Gangplank does not have it, just zoning him away from the experience. And Trick's going to come up with Olaf to try to break this zone, which was crippling the Gangplank. Currently 2 up top here, but they don't have a third. And even a 3-on-2 in the top lane would not be a dive that they would be wanting. Here we have the Galio coming up, getting right onto the Olaf, and the Camille locking Olaf in. So Olaf cannot be CC'd, but he can be contained. So the challenge issued by Camille, it's kind of like with Jarvan's Cataclysm, where Olaf could say, "You're not going to CC me, but I can't move past these walls that you've just enacted." All right, here we're going to get to see it again. Camille getting in there with the flash. Follow-up damage from the Nidalee. And the good measure from Galio, making sure that they have enough. And this was live. A little bit of a misplay here from Crazy, and he didn't need to die there. was just misposition, and hopefully this is not the end of BBQ, as we were promised a match of the week. And if this is a 2-0 stomp for Kingzone, not much of a match. Farm in bot lane is equalized. Prey had an early lead, and with this last minion, it is still at 8, so he's actually exactly the same with where he was before, just because Wave was pushing a little bit towards him. Corki has got a very minute lead on Galio because of Galio's roam. But the big lead is now the Camille over the Gangplank here in top lane. And with that, Tiamat is going to have a significant wave clearing ability over the Gangplank, who is still just on a Sheen and some defensive items. Wave is pushing for Khan, but he doesn't want to set up a freeze. Instead, choosing to start thinning out some of the wave. Looks like he'd rather have it pushing towards Gangplank. So he's carefully manipulating that. I would like to see actually where he wants that wave in top lane. One of the disadvantages from casting from a replay is I can't control where we're seeing it. I'm very interested in this top lane matchup between Khan and Crazy. Last game, Khan having a similar start with the Gangplank, yet being able to stabilize and have it be an advantage for him against that counter pick in Gnar. Thought Peanut was going for that dragon, took a look at it, appears to be starting it now, so just wanted to get a little bit of vision. Gets the help of the Braum here to tank. Corki using that first package here in mid lane. Not doing anything too crazy with it. Unlike in solo queue, you can't normally go for a massive dive, that first package that you get. It's just using it as a wave clear device, having the minions follow in its wake. Big action onto Khan, but little does he know that it's being countered by Trick. Khan, who's issuing the ultimatum to Trick, but Trick this time is like, it's 2-on-1. I don't care if you trap me in. We're going to kill you first, and you're trapped in here with me. So Peanut just saw the gank that was successful in top. Sees Trick there. Gets a little bit of early damage, and that hit perfectly. Understanding the situation that he was in, Trick flashes over the wall, and that's going to be a 16-minute flash on his end. Excellent counter jungling from Peanut. And very confident, too, seeing his top laner get killed, then following up by a counter jungle. Not many players in the world who can do that. Purposely tanking it up on the Nidalee, barely getting out. This is very impressive jungling from Peanut. Now being turned around. Galio getting in, saving Khan. It's now a 3-on-1. They are going to be able to clean this up if Crazy engages, but teleport in from the Corki, gets up one, and it looks like he's going to be able to pick up the second one if Khan can't heal up to where he can survive these shots. Appears to be 2 more shots that's going to be needed. Corki might have to hit the W to get in there. Flash in from Tarek. Misses the stun. And it's just going to be barely enough to get Camille out. And in turn, we'll probably be able to defend this top lane turret, since she didn't die. Yes does not have TP up. Both TPs are down for about the next 3 minutes. And yes, Corki will get to continue to push this wave in as well as early damage, but will not be able to complete getting the tower. Tarek went back to buy and is heading back down to bot lane, whereas Gangplank pushed in the mid lane. So both Corki and Gangplank pushed in the opposite lanes, are both backing right now, again in unison. This is coordinated, and will both go back to each other's respective lanes. Good teamwork by BBQ. Another invade here from the Nidalee. Here we're just going to get to see a replay. I did not see this play. So BDD gets caught out a little bit from the Gangplank, who follows him, and actually got the suicide. So good job on him. One of the only times I advocate suicide is in League of Legends. All kinds of damage being tanked by the Ragnarok, but not enough to be able to get through the intense damage of the Peanut. We're having Kingzone return the pressure onto the tower of BBQ, but with 4 members at low health bars, while just the Galio being up there, are going to decide, instead of diving, to prefer to take a better fight in the future. Peanut's going to go back and head towards the try, which they do have a control ward, and it looks like they're backing, but nice play! They're going to try to turn this right onto the advanced positions of BBQ, and this was set up gorgeously with the fake back from Varus, and then having the control ward in Tri-Bush. Really, really good play, and Peanut's going deep for that. That was a little bit of a misplay there, but I mean, the overall macro setup was excellently done, and just because it was a 1-for-1, it was just meant from a little bit of a bad play. Peanut dove a little bit deep to try to get the Tarek. Tarek is their tank somewhat, and just was not able to get that last hit. So good idea, just the execution was a little bit off. Galio going the traditional Rod of Ages build. Nothing funky like an Abyssal Mask. So both CCs missing Ghost there. Jumps out. GP Ultimate slows the Kingzone advance. Now BBQ are trying to turn it. Double ultimate used by Tarek and Olaf, who tanks a lot of damage. Not quite able to finish off Gorilla there on the back end. And Corki with the machine gun getting just enough damage out to make Kingzone reconsider. Now, you would think the play is dead immediately here, but with Nidalee going up and getting the honey fruit, and Galio staying down there, it's like it's a set play. It looks like it's Galio that called it, if I were to assume who called that play, and Prey setting up the bait perfectly. That was a for sure kill, and now this dive, you should have had Braum continue to tank it. So here he tanks one, and he just gets a little bit shaky, pulls off on the last hit, and Corki able to get just enough damage onto Peanut to have that play go 1-for-1. Now second Wind Dragon over to Kingzone. Now this is the 8.4 Wind Dragon, so it's just out of combat movement speed. 8.5 will be starting with a slight out of combat movement speed for the Wind Dragon, and a more significant in combat movement speed. Which will be happening in 8.5. So that's the big change happening in that patch. But currently, just massive, massive out of movement combat speed for Kingzone. And as a Nidalee and a Camille, and even Braum can use it pretty effectively to go to try to get to places to save his teammate, put vision, those sorts of things. A very useful team overall for the Wind Dragon. So. Definitely, I'd say Peanut would be the most beneficial, and Peanut's already doing all sorts of counter jungling going all throughout the map. Did go Boots of Lucidity here, prioritizing the cooldown reduction. And you're looking at ganking effectiveness. 6 of 8 is going to be 2 of 6 any time of the week. And although Trick has a higher amount of jungle proximity, has ganked less time and has a lower rate of percentage of successful ganks than his counterpart in Peanut. And if you're looking for a star of this game so far, early hats off to Peanut, who's showing why this is such an effective pick for him. And look what he built. He built a Rod of Ages on a jungler. Who else does that? Nobody else does that. Almost a 30 CS advantage over Olaf, who is not a farming slouch himself by any means. And this is a 2-on-2 that's going to be quickly turned into a 3-on-2. Kingzone just showed right now, and it looks like it's going to be for sure 1 over. I don't think if that Hextech ultimatum was needed, but they made sure to do it just in case to make sure to lock up the Gangplank, who is now, it's like deja vu, 0-2, just like Khan was last game. And the Camille now, although it doesn't have a kill yet, it does have 4 assists with a CS lead, as well as does have a slight experience lead. I was just double checking those numbers before I confirmed that. Another kill popping over towards the Varus now, who got his Rage Blade and Ninja Tabbies with this solo gold, if they can get it, but probably not. Will go ahead and even start building another component for his next item. Peanut knocking down another objective. Just gets that Rift Herald so incredibly fast. 5, 2, and 1. Just able to knock down that turret. Misses the stun, and that's going to be all she wrote for Varus, who's able to 2-on-1. Excellent job by Prey, and the confidence of this AD carry cannot be underscored. Numbers that aren't, I'd say, best in the league with kill percentage and damage percentage. That's just because of how well his teammates are doing. It's not an AD carry centered team. This is a team's team here in Kingzone. So the 19% damage share and the 39% kill participation from an AD carry, definitely nothing to write home about. And I'm sure specifically the damage percentage at 19% is even a little bit low compared to his compatriots. But I'll tell you what he does like as Prey, and that's being the overall considered best team in the world and most favored to win 2018 Worlds, and that's something he's definitely proud to be a part of. And I'm sure a little bit of I want to say underperforming, but it's not really underperforming. A little bit of not so flashy numbers on his part, he will gladly trade to be able to have a chance to win Worlds this year. And although Longzhu had a good chance last year, they were in the talks of it. This year, they are the overwhelming favorites. A little bit of an unusual item buy from the Galio, and that's going Hourglass second. So yes, it is primarily an attack damage focused comp, but rarely do you see the Hourglass made from Galio. Normally it's more of a Gargoyle Stoneplate, Abyssal Mass type of build, so a little bit of ingenuity and uniqueness on this build. Hextech's going to be effective in this instance, being able to lock up the Olaf, and wow, it really looks like a good counter to the Olaf pick in the Camille. If I were to say so myself, as someone who plays the Jarvan frequently, getting the Olaf inside your Cataclysm is not always a good call, because he can sometimes just destroy you immediately. But as the Camille, with teamwork, specifically in combination with Peanut as the jungler, being able to have more than enough damage, issuing the ultimatum to Trick under Olaf, and now at 4 deaths, this is an unusually shaky performance from this otherwise very solid jungler in Trick. The CC of Galio being ignored by Olaf, but it really doesn't matter at this point. And at 10 kills to 3 with 2 dragons up, 6,000 gold ahead, I'm looking at Kingzone and I'm thinking, how do they throw this? If this goes to a game 3, how do they lose this lead? Because it looks really solid. They're off to a way bigger advantage than they were in game 1. And look at those damage charts. Jungler incredibly out-damaging as Nidalee over the Olaf. And if you look at the 80 carries, with Varus being able to do significantly more than the Tristana, who's at 0 and 3. And at 3 deaths to Tristana at 23 minutes is not often conducive to a late-game hyper-carry type scenario, which is where you want to be at with Tristana. So, with the Rift Herald now being used here in mid, with Baron up minions, BBQ is going to really have to do something special to turn this around. And by special, it seems like a couple of picks or a team fight win or 2. Really, it has to be something major. This is a very early inhibitor at 24 minutes. I mean, for the Korean professionals, maybe for North America, we see games ending this quickly, as well as inhibitors taken early. But in the Korean leagues, we've seen fairly long games this season. Now securing the 3rd dragon is the Kingzone, the Ocean Dragon, which they're taking a little bit of damage here on the siege and bot lane, but having this 3rd regeneration dragon means they can just keep sieging, not have to go back. They're doing a 1-3-1, well, doing a 1-1-3 really, with Camille pushing in this mid wave, baroning it up, and making that BBQ will have to force a team fight somewhere. And here they're going onto the bot lane, Taric ultimate used, but Galio's being able to cross the map with the ultimate right onto Corki, which he finishes. Now, with 2 inhibitors down, they're pushing for the win, and it doesn't appear like BBQ is going to be able to stop this. So our LCS match of the week ends up being a close game 1, but a stomp in game 2 from our overall number 1s here at Kingzone, and makes me think that Riot just wants us to have a little bit of introduction to these this number 1 Korean team. And although I have a fascination and obsession with KT, it appears that the Kingzone are the ones to watch. So this would be my 2nd cast of the year for this Kingzone team. I saw them face KSV in week 1, the former Samsung World Champions. It was an excellent match, which I casted a little over a month ago. But, well, probably about 2 months ago, closer to. But here we have, towards the end of the spring 2018 split here in the LCK, Kingzone, Dragon X, looking very solid in their comp here in game 2, and Peanut by far the hard carry. And Sir, you know, as we showed him in the last picture, you know, smiled when he got that Nidalee pick. His pool was being tightened with the Kha'Zix ban and the Jax ban, and he's just like, all right, I'll play Nidalee, and being one of the only people in the world that can do it. So I'm really excited for these playoffs. I'm hyping up. I'm starting to cast more and more games, so expect to see many more games here in March and April as we get into this first playoff series, and I, for one, cannot wait. But here is the bottom fight. That BBQ engaged onto Kingzone, and they really had to make a play in somewhere on the map, whether it was going to be top or bottom, and choosing bottom here under their temporarily their tower. They engaged on, but the counter engaged from Galio, crossing the map, getting that damage reduction, NCC, to help his team, locking up the Corki, pushing for the win with the Banner of Command Baroned up Cannon Minion. Was just a really positive way to see this top-ranked team finish out a game quickly and efficiently. And the gold graph shows how close of a game it was for the first 16, 17 minutes at about a 2 or 3k gold lead. And once the Baron was taken at about the 22-minute mark, 23-minute mark, it was lights out from there. RavExel's MVP of the Peanut match, definitely Peanut, and we're going to see this team in the playoffs, and I can't wait to cast it for you. So, if you haven't visited my Twitch, go ahead. It is RavExel, all one word, over on the Twitch, and I do live casts over there. I'm starting to do a little bit of Fortnite, and here, continue on. Give me a follow, give me a like, and I will definitely continue to cast these matches for you. So, RavExel casting the 2018 LCK spring season.